Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game. It's just finished. Wolves 1, West Ham United 0. That was dog shit. Absolute dog shit from us. We're going to discuss the highlights. There was quite a few of it. And we'll discuss the game performance overall. I think there was a couple of players that played well, but generally speaking, there was a real lack of quality from West Ham. Again, if it was a one-off, not the end of the world, but it's not. It feels like a continuation of what we've seen in the last game and the game before that. And it's not good enough. And I'm annoyed with it, to be honest with you. And I know people say, well, it's not his squad. You have to wait. But my concern is it won't get better if he has his squad. Coming into this game, there was a big deal made a couple of weeks ago, if you recall, about how since Graham Potter came to West Ham are bottom of the Premier League table for average shots on target per game. And our average shots on target per game at that point was 2 point something. We had one tonight, one shot on target. It was a tame effort from Javid Bowen. We created fuck all once again. Now, that's a huge win for Wolves because we have to remember that they were, I say only, had we won and Ipswich won their game, they played Ipswich at the weekend with only 6 points between them. So tonight was a big, big game for them. They won it. That's why they're celebrating like they are at the end of the game. And they deserve to win. They were unlucky to only go 1-0 up at half time. But let's talk through the first half. I don't know how to explain this, by the way. There's two things that sort of summed up West Ham's performance in the first half, I felt. And I don't know how to describe why it feels like this. First of all, Guilherme needing to change his boots after 6 minutes. And this isn't a dig at Guilherme, by the way. Like I said, it symbolises how I felt at half time. And the second one was, we got a free kick 40 yards out. Centre-backs went up. James Ward-Prowse decided to try a pile driver from 40 yards. And unsurprisingly, it went over the bar. Ariola made a really good save. I can't remember which Wolves player it was. Wan-Bissaka was poor at marking him. It was I wouldn't say a free header, but it was an uncontested header. Really good save from Ariola. Then they made it 1-0 after 20 minutes. Larsen, Kilman just fucking hell. The ball gets zipped in, and it's a good ball into Molineux, and Kilman assumes the ball is going to get played behind Mavropanos, and he goes to cover Mavropanos. Unfortunately, it gets blocked and goes to Larsen, who's now unmarked on the edge of our box because the person marking him, which is Kilman, has assumed Mavropanos is going to be dog shit and has gone to try and cover his teammate. Almost unfortunately, Mavropanos wasn't dog shit, and it's cost us a goal. Larsen tees it up, takes a deflection off Kilman, goes in the back of the net. I'm not going to blame Ariola for it. Like I said, it changes direction quite drastically. It looked like a really tame effort and a poor goal concede. And it was a poor goal concede, but not necessarily from the strike, just from the lack of awareness from our player. Molineux then hit the bars. He should have made it 2-0, really. Good play from Gomez. Nice little layoff by Larsen. And we didn't do anything in the first half. We were absolutely terrible. We could barely string any passes together. We just fucked about with it in our own 18-yard box. And then when Wolves pressed us, to be fair, sometimes Wolves pressed us. We fucked about a little bit more. We sometimes, in Kilman's case, took a couple of players on. It works. I can't really criticise him. But we would just pass it around and just boot it. And I thought, the last couple of games, I hated watching Bowen up against the centre-back, getting the ball booted at him. Today, despite Ferguson being on the pitch, we still booted the ball at Javid Bowen up against the centre-back. Went in 1-0 down at half-time, and it could have been 2-0. We had nothing. James Ward-Prowse was horrendous in the first half. He didn't get much better in the second half. But his duty is to do the simple thing. Just get the ball from centre-back, A, give it to centre-back, B, and he was struggling to do that. Scarles, bless him, looked lost out there. Guilherme was lost out there. I'm not going to criticise them because they're only 18 and 19, so I'm going to give them a pass, if you like. But Ferguson, absolutely terrible. Now we know why Potter hasn't been starting him. We were not good in that first half. Hardly anyone played well. Second half, we made 3 subs at halftime, but he kind of had to. He kind have had to. Creswell went off. So did Guilherme, so did Ferguson. Alvarez came on, ran around a lot. Fulkrug came on. I thought he looked okay. And so did Solar. Looked good, but not necessarily with the ball at his feet, just because he's a handsome bastard, I guess. Now, we improved in the second half. If I was to sit here and say we continued to be as bad, that would be a lie. However, as I always say, context and circumstances are really, really important when it comes to games like this, because Wolves came out and there was a completely different attitude and tactical system going on by Pereira. They were 1-0 up in what they would consider to be a 6-pointer in the relegation battle. They were going to start sitting deeper. They were going to start defending. And do you know what? You can against this West Ham team, because we ain't going to do anything. You sit back and defend. Good luck. What are you going to do? How are you going to break us down? Now, we almost did, but it came from a defensive error. It came from Jared Bowen forcing that error. I should say in the first half, Ferguson, I've got a bit of sympathy for that chance he missed, though, because, Bowen and Wan-Bissaka do well to close Totti Gomez down. Bowen doesn't do much wrong. I think the pass is a bit behind Ferguson, but he's got the right intention. He gets his head up. Ferguson makes the right run to some extent. I think he's expecting to be played across the face of the goal rather than being dragged back. So I think it was just unlucky that Ferguson and Bowen weren't on the same wavelength. That's what I was putting it down to. But in the second half, there was nothing. Right up until the very last minute, we created nothing. Fulkrug did hit the bar. Good ball in by Paqueta. Outstanding header to nudge whichever centre-back it was. I think it was Agmadu he was up against at that point. Just gives him a little nudge, gets his head on it from about 16, 17 yards, some distance, aims for the far corner, hits the post. Really unlucky. But that was it. Our best bit of play came from a cross, and it took some sort of magnificent individual play from Fulkrug to get that chance. It's not like the ball come in and it was on a plate for him or anything like that. We could have played for another 45 minutes tonight and still not scored. We nearly scored at the end. Actually, no, we didn't. We should have scored at the end. Thomas Souček, Jared Bowen closes down on the right wing, who I thought looked better in the second half. Bowen did. I thought he looked a bit lost in the first half. Better out on his usual position on the right of a attacking three. Fulkrug, nice back heel to Thomas Souček, does the first bit really well, which is get himself into a shooting position, tee himself up, but he just drags it wide with his left foot. Potato salad, fucking more like spam salad or something. Just really, really bad. The whole performance overall from West Ham tonight was terrible. When the lineup come out, I thought I got a bit hopeful. I thought, right, but I kept reiterating this is the first half. Brad Beal put it in the build-up show. Remember him? It was him that put it in. And he worded it really well. Basically said Potter had 2 challenges tonight, and he's done the first one, which was, can you play a striker? Can you bring sort of more attacking players into the team? He'd done that. But the second part was, well, can we now play like we have more attacking players in the team? And we didn't do that. We played, if you were to go take today's team sheet and compare it to how we played in other games where it was just sat back, like against Everton, you would just imagine, you look and go, oh, that's a bit more attacking in terms of the personnel and the shape. Was it? Fuck. It was just different players, different formation, but the same style, which is sit back and watch them pass it around. Wolves wanted it more tonight. And I know they've got that relegation battle, but it doesn't mean I have to like it as a West Ham fan. I have to accept it. They were more aggressive. And to be fair, the game was quite tasty. Both teams were going at it. Both players were going at it. I quite enjoyed it in that regards. The referee started to lose the plot a little bit when he booked Jose Sa and Mavropanos for just having a little argument on the goal line, and he gave a free kick when Semedo fell over. Even though the linesman didn't give it, who was 2 yards away, the referee decided he knew better from 25 yards away, but nevertheless. But I thought he was crap for both teams. He wasn't biased towards Wolves. He was just poor and didn't have much control of that game. I think he's a bit lucky that there perhaps wasn't a sending off to be had. I don't think the one on James Ward-Prowse was a red card. I know the West Ham players were trying to get him sent off. It was never a sending off or anything like that. He just grabbed Ward-Prowse here, and that was that. It's handbags, get on with it. But tonight, it's just... I already know what people are going to be saying. It's not his squad. You've got to give him time. You've got to be patient. You can't judge him yet. But I can judge him now. I can judge him game by game if I want to, and I am. And Potter keeps saying, oh, we've got to build a relationship with the home fans. Well, no, you build a relationship with all your fans, and you don't do it when you start winning. You do it now. This is the relationship you're building. This is the expectation you're forging. This is what you're saying to West Ham fans. This is what we do under Graham Potter. And it's terrible. It is terrible. Now, Wolves, they're obviously not the best team in the league. They're not the worst either. And I know that where they are in the league table, obviously, but under Pereira, they've been much better than they were under Gary O'Neill. If you were to look at the last 6-7 games or something, Wolves are like 5th in the Premier League table. So they are in good form. And like I said, they've got something to play for. But it doesn't excuse having fuck all attacking threat again. Like I said, if this was a one-off, you chalk it down to a bad day at the office, you move on to Saturday. But it's not. I feel like I've watched West Ham play like 6 or 7 halves of football in a row. We played exactly the same way, had exactly the same problems, even though it's different personnel. It's just frustrating. No, listen, I'll be clear, because there'll be a few idiots. I don't want Potter sacked. I want him to get the summer. But between now and then, I want to see something that says, Gio, don't worry. You're going to enjoy next season. We're going to have a good season, and you're going to enjoy what we produce. Because at the minute, I'm not seeing evidence that we're going to have a good season, and I'm not seeing evidence that I'm going to enjoy what he produces either. Quite the opposite. I'm seeing no evidence to be concerned. 2.5 weeks they had on the training ground, and that's what they come up with. Honestly, the more time he's got on the training ground, the worse. One of our best performances under Potter came when he had about 1 day's training session when we played Villa in the FA Cup. It's not good enough. It's frustrating. It's really frustrating. And I know it's not his players, but we're missing, 3 players tonight. Kudus was unavailable, but coming into tonight's game, we're missing Somerville and Antonio, and that's it. 3 players. Most clubs have more of injuries than we currently do. Do I believe in the summer he's going to buy his own players and we're going to get better? No, I just think this is what I think we see next season. And if we're lucky, if he decides to treat us, we might have 3 shots on target in a game. Player performances, I think Ward-Prowse was our worst player tonight by a country mile. I thought he absolutely stunk the gaff out. Guilherme, as well, but I think you can give reasons why Guilherme struggled. Ward-Prowse was playing in a role that should be familiar with him. Arguably, the football in the first half should suit Ward-Prowse, which is pass it around at the back in triangles, then let someone just boot it forward. But I thought he got bullied. Ward-Prowse got absolutely bullied. And we used to have a bit of a joke for him on player ratings, just to say, we had a name for him, which was James Ward-Mouse. Just a bit of fun. But basically meant he was timid. And I thought tonight that was what we got from James Ward-Prowse. I will say there was one player I actually thought had a good game, and I appreciate people may not agree, but I don't really care. I thought Paqueta had a good game. That pass for Füllkrug I thought was fantastic. The cross was half decent. I thought he made some really good passes in there. And yes, at times he got caught on the ball, but I thought he was trying to make things happen. And it might just be because I'm starved of anything going forward at West Ham in a minute. But that pass to Ward-Prowse in the first half was fantastic. Completely broke the lines of Wolves in midfield. Unfortunately, Ward-Prowse was way too slow, lost the ball, and then all the Scouse bottled a 50-50 with Yao Gomez. That was the problem. I thought Paqueta played well, and I thought Wan-Bissaka played well. Apart from that, Füllkrug looked busy when he came on, but I don't know. It's just frustrating. Absolutely frustrating. But it's not good enough. I believe he's got one of the best players in the Premier League in Jared Bowen. I genuinely believe that. And when I say one of the best, I don't mean he's one of the top 5 players or anything silly like that. But I do believe Jared Bowen is an exceptional player. He looked okay under Lopetegui, even though everything was going bad. Bowen was all right. He looked excellent under David Moyes. But under Graham Potter, he's made Jared Bowen look shit. And I didn't even think that was possible. I think it's actually more difficult to make Bowen look bad than it is to make him look good. He looked better in the second half in his usual position. But in the first half, in Graham Potter's system, his sort of blueprint, just not involved in the game at all. And when he was sort of doing it himself. Not good enough. Right, I'm going to disappear. I'll be live tomorrow when we do the debrief. It's Wednesday. We'll say 6 p.m. I'll be live tomorrow at 6 p.m. if anyone fancies it. Probably not. But if you fancy doing something like some of the West Ham players didn't do and turning up, that would be appreciated. But before you go, please drop a like on the video, but click on thumbs up. Sky Reed Hammers chat. Just fucking shit, innit?